Hello everyone. I know it's been a while since I made one of these, but since I just released an album, I thought it would be great to have a breakdown of each one of the 14 songs and kind of explain how each song came to be and the process of making it. So Calm Now Restless Heart came out of all the feelings that I felt entering that first lockdown. Basically, I felt very overwhelmed because there were so many things happening in my life and around the world at the same time. I had to apply to university, I was in my final year of college, there were so many things just mixing around my head, and there was the whole pandemic. Yeah, that was a thing, by the way. It's still a thing. So out of that period of life, I decided to take apart each of the emotions that I felt, put them into 4-minute slots. I wanted to explore the theme of reflection. Things that you felt early on in a certain period in your life, you have to come back to it later. The way I do it in the album is every song in the first half has a corresponding song in the second half. They're not the same song, they're different moods, different styles, but one way or another, either via a motif or a melody or an instrument that I repeat, I will try to reference the previous song in the next one. Not every song has explicit references. I don't think these two have any, because I just got lazy, but the idea is there. So that's the album. I'm gonna start going through the first song, Calm Now, and then we'll just take it from there. So here we are, Calm Now, the first song on the album. But it was the last song I actually made for the album. What the song really is just a dumping ground because I've been recording a lot of samples in these past 2 years on my phone and I've been using them as instruments in my songs. And I just was going through my library, deleting whatever that I didn't want anymore. And I just had a few leftovers that I thought were really good, but I haven't used them in any of the other 13 songs. So let's just put them in here, I thought. The first one, so there's this radio in my house that I haven't used in a long time, but I decided to just dig it up and just try to record sounds that I could find from it. So here's that radio sound. Following that, the distortion you get from the radio. Kind of creepy by itself, but it works in the overall song. Next, we have this Lego motor. In the dining hall of my college, there's this really old fan. It just makes a really annoying noise. They fixed it in the last month, I think. It was really sad because I kind of grew to like the sound, even though everyone hates it. You don't know what it takes to get these sounds. Like, you look like a complete idiot just taking out your phone in the middle of the dining hall, like standing up on the table, reaching up for the fan. But it's worth it, you get the sound. So those three sounds are more of the low end sounds. Those are the dry ones, like machinery. And I also wanted to add some wet and crispy sounds. For example, this is my roommate swimming in the college pool with the splashes and him diving. I made sure to cut off the low end and boost up the high end. I also recorded him turning on a fan. So this one is pan to the right and this one is pan to the left. So it transitions. Before he turns on the fan, our talking is in your right ear and then it goes to your left ear. And then it ends with the right ear again. I also go walking around in the morning and there's a lot of birds, so I recorded them. Together, they really add a nice atmosphere. Having all these sounds around kind of reminded me of all the thoughts that were in my head. They were all jumbling around, trying to find space to talk, space to be heard. I think this is the best representation of how that felt. And now we go to the synths. Most of these I got from a Spitfire Labs audio pack, which is an amazing plugin, by the way. Please go check out Spitfire Audio if you make music. And this one is a tape piano. So this is the main driving, the main drone pad in the background. It provides most of the bass, most of the low end. Using the same instrument, I've added some chords. If you've noticed, I've layered over an isotope vinyl, an amazing plugin if you want to do like lo-fi. Basically adds a layer of vinyl and distortion to your track. So without the plugin, it sounds very clean. And there's a lot of low end, you can hear that bass. There's no crackling or anything, it's just a clean instrument. But adding the vinyl, you hear this warm little buzzes and cracks and fizz. It cuts off most of the low end too, so I had to compensate that with more bass later on. The next pad was this analog pad from the GarageBand presets, but I edited it myself and added some distortion. You can hear it going from left to right in your ear. It's like beeping, beeping. And then this is one of my favorite instruments from Spitfire Labs, the piano granular. It's these samples of piano looping. GarageBand recently added keyboards that emulate like real pianos with really nice effects on them. So this is the parallel earth piano. And it's the same chords, just as these. It's a very nice, soft and warm sound. With really good bass as well. And then my favorite instrument in every single song that I use is the Spitfire Labs soft piano. The main melody is from Restless Heart, the last song on the album. After each part of the melody that was in Restless Heart, I just kind of improvised a bit. Those are really random, they didn't really fit to the time as well. But for this song, it works because it adds to like the mess of thoughts and emotions that you feel. It's a very nice high-end addition to the mix of pads, which are mostly low-end. And then I have my music box. And this one is actually the melody of one of the songs on the album. And it's just the main vocals on that song, It Means the Universe. Then, Digital Raindrops, which is a favorite of mine. It has its own built-in pan, so it randomly goes around left and right ear. So it feels like you're being surrounded by these little lights. Then I got my Zen Garden, little strings being plucked randomly. Next up is this exotic synth, an instrument that just makes a vinyl sound in the background, because of course, in between sections of this first part of the song, I want to have a little transition. So you know how like EDM music has risers, like this time I decided just to use that vinyl scratch, increasing in volume as a transition. So it gets loud and then goes quiet again. So what are those transitions doing? Well, they're introducing new instruments. So the first instrument that I introduced was this guitar. This part is actually a melody from another song on the album, which is Origami Yachts. That track was panned to the left. In the next transition, I introduced the same guitar track. It's actually just the same track, copy-pasted, shifted a bit, but this time panned to the right. And at the end, just as it's about to cut off from this section to the next section, I added another guitar. Another tool that I used for transitions was this beautiful sound that I got just by recording myself pouring some tea into a glass cup. And I've used this in so many of my songs. I've used it in March of the Ants, A Detour, Forests and Caverns. Whenever I do, I always make sure to have automation panning the track from one side to the other side. So it feels like I'm pouring around your head, like behind your head. So in this context, the vinyl comes in and the pour. So it feels like the vinyl is introducing the guitar. So I guess there's like three main sections of this song. There's the first section, which is just instruments and samples all messing around your head. And then the second section is where the vocals come in. Things start to be more coherent. And then the last part, I cut off all the sounds and focus only on my voice. And then that transitions into strings. Okay, 4 parts then, not 3 parts. Now, let's talk about the second part, when the vocals come in. So this is the main vocal track. It just says calm now. And you can hear that I clearly put auto-tune on my voice, not only because I'm very bad at pitch, I also wanted to give a specific aesthetic to the sound. It's hard to explain now, but you'll hear it once I put them all together. Whenever I record vocals, I always make sure to have a main vocal track, which is this calm now sound, and then I make sure to have pairs left and right of different harmonies. This one is not a harmony, this one is just the same melody to support the main one. What I made sure to do is to record different takes of the same melody. So they're slightly different in my voice, in the timbre, in the recording, whatever. They make sure that your brain distinguishes between the two. There's another harmony pair, my lower harmony. So this is my high harmony, pan to the right. And I have an even lower harmony, pan to the left. Yeah, and I messed up that one, but I just put a lot of auto-tune over it. It's not auto-tune, it's pitch correction. The vocals together, they sound like this. You can tell that the auto-tune, I mean the pitch correction actually adds to the aesthetic. I can't explain, I don't know how to describe it. Before we jump into the last part, let's talk about this little transition here. Since I began this section by turning on a radio, I decided to end the section by just turning off the radio. A lot of different thoughts swimming around my head. There's suddenly a moment of clarity, a moment of focus. And this is how that feels like. Let's go to the next part. This one was kind of a transition between this song and the next song. The next song, Skies Await, is this like huge bombastic orchestral strings track, and I wanted the way to transition from this really calm track to this really energetic one, using the melody from Restless Heart, my last song. I have 3 components to the string section. The first one is just the melody from Restless Heart. 2 octaves, up and down. Then I have upper harmony. Below them is this amplified cello quartet, which is from Spitfire Labs. I mean, these are all from Spitfire Labs. I never really used a cello because I felt like it had such a limited range and it doesn't sound as nice as the strings, but it works here. So these are the chords. So that's that, and last but not least is the transition between this song and Skies Await. I just exported Skies Await as a M4A because it's Apple, then I reversed it. So before I reversed it, it sounds like this. And then after reversing, it sounds like this. So I paired that with this increasing brass, just a single note. Which abruptly cuts off as well. Lastly, this little tiny pizzicato, 1 pluck, which is copy-pasted from the next song, Skies Await. So together, that section sounds like this. And there you go. I'm not gonna play the song. You can go listen to the actual song, like somewhere up here. I don't know, I'll put the thing. But yeah, so that's Calm Now. So as a whole, it's kind of an introduction to the album. It acts as a preview by showing you all the different sounds that will show up later on the album. But it's also its own little story. It's a story of how I came into this year having so many messy thoughts and how I came out of it having time to reflect on myself and all the things that I felt. So yeah, I'll probably make more of these videos. Maybe I can do them in order or based on your requests. And I guess that's it. Bye bye.